What is going on, guys? It is your boy Kazak here, and what do you know? Atlas have officially came out and announced Persona 4 Revival, aka the Persona 4 remake that everybody has been waiting for, and it's been the talk of the town very recently, especially since the original voice actors for the characters came out, and they stated how they weren't casted back to voice any of the OG characters in Persona 4. So that was also another giveaway that this project is definitely happening. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to give my 2 cents on everything since, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about it. And yeah, just wanted to throw in my 2 cents here, okay? So right out the gate, I will say that the footage that we have right now, what little footage that we do have, is clearly early development. I mean, you can definitely see that, especially like with the way that you walks and all that stuff. It definitely looks a little bit unfinished, not as polished as we probably would have liked to see, which is completely different than how Persona 3 Reload was shown. Because when Reload was shown at the previous Xbox showcase, the game already looked like it was pretty much very far along in development. A lot of things looked very polished and all that stuff. But that was because of the fact that Persona 3 Reload was already in development for a pretty substantial amount of time compared to Persona 4 Remake, which clearly has started development and it definitely shows. So, in terms of a release, I'm probably not expecting this to come out until maybe sometime in 2026 or 2027. It really just depends on how long the development cycle will be. I also know there's also been some people that still really want to, they really want to know more about Persona 6. Because again, we also have not gotten any sort of confirmation on when the next Persona 6 or the next main entry is going to be coming out. For me personally, I'm a lot more interested in that than the current remake of Persona 4. I said this previously in my past video regarding the whole Persona 4 situation that I like Persona 4, but it's not my favorite game of the franchise. That honor belongs to Persona 3, and that will always be my favorite Persona game without a doubt. But I am very happy to see that Persona 4 fans are actually getting what they want, and they're finally able to play their favorite game with new HD graphics, the brand new voice acting. Yes, there will be brand new voice acting since, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the OG voice actors and actresses were not contacted to reprise their roles as characters like Kanji or Chie and Naoto. Again, we don't know if this is going to change. We have to wait and see how everything works. But considering how Persona 3 Reload was handled when it came to the voice changes, where they completely just recasted everybody, and some of the original people that did voice certain characters got their character roles swapped over with different ones, it would not surprise me if the same thing does happen here with Persona 4 Revival. So just know that going into it, there's definitely going to be some changes here in comparison to how the original game was. So yeah, I figured that would be something to keep in mind. For me personally, I'm not too bothered by this as long as the new cast and the new people that are going into the project do a good job fitting the roles of these characters and stuff like that. And I think that's what matters most at the end of the day. However, I do understand that not having certain OG characters voice as their original characters here is not really it's not going to be received well by a lot of people, especially if Johnny Young Bosch is not in here as Adachi or you. That's going to be a very, very big problem. I definitely see a lot of people complaining about that. But we have to wait and see because everything I'm talking about here is purely just based off of like my own speculation and thoughts. Because again, we have very little information about what we're going to see in the remake. My personal expectations for this remake, I don't have a whole lot. I think a lot of the things I would want here are more than likely going to be in here, especially since Persona 3 had a lot of the features I enjoyed as well. For example, one feature that I really did like in Reload was the fact that you could actually travel back in time a little bit. And what I mean by travel back in time is that you could actually rewind certain days where, like, oh, if you mess up on a certain social link or whatever, or there's something that you completely forgot to do yesterday, that you can go into your loaded file, and then you can rewind the day and go back and do the other thing that you wanted to do. Now, I don't know how many people actually liked this particular mechanic, but personally, I enjoyed it just because of the fact that it gives you a lot more flexibility and allows you to really consider all your options before moving on to the next day. And it's also really useful, especially if you're trying to 100% all the social links in the game. I think it definitely comes in very handy. Another thing that I would like to see is better balancing when it comes to the difficulty. Because one of the things that I will say that I didn't like about Persona 3 Reload was how easy the game was. I mean, it was very easy to break Persona 3 Reload in a very absolutely absurd way. I mean, the way you can break that game is so incredibly ridiculous, especially by like the time you get into the mid game era. Bro, you get some really crazy good personas around that point, and it pretty much just makes the challenge completely like non-existent. I mean, everything is essentially a cakewalk, especially if you use like the little special theurgy skills. I think that's what they're called. It just completely breaks every sense of challenge in the game, which to me is a little bit disappointing because original Persona 3 and Persona 3 Fest were very challenging games, and I appreciated that aspect of them, and I appreciated how there was a lot of challenge that was in it, and you had to really consider the type of personas that you were making in order to counter different types of enemies or bosses throughout the entirety of the game. It really helped keep you on your toes as you're playing through it. But in Reload, everything was just a cakewalk, and I didn't really like that. Even against the final boss, I didn't feel any struggle. And it's crazy because the final boss of the original games made me so mad and so annoyed. And when I did beat them, I had so much satisfaction. But with Reload, I didn't really get that same level of satisfaction here. So hopefully, when it comes to Persona 4 Revival, they actually balance the difficulty in a way that is still challenging, but not overly challenging for people who probably don't want that. You know what I'm saying? I would also like to see the bonding event system from Reload come back in this game as well, especially since I felt like it was a great way to help give side characters a little bit more development and just a little bit more time for you to interact with them and get to know them as people. And I think that was something that, even if it wasn't done perfectly well in Reload, I still think this is something that they can greatly refine in Revival and make it even better than it was in the previous entry. Now, again, I know there's been people that have been very conflicted about the idea of a Persona 4 remake. In fact, I actually made a video about that not too long ago. But at the end of the day, Atlus had made their decision and they chose to go with Persona 4 because of the fact that it is one of the most popular Persona games of all times. Only second to Persona 5, although it's kind of debatable between which one is the most popular, Persona 4 or Persona 5. Again, you can kind of make your own sort of conclusion on which one is the more popular one. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change the fact that Persona 4 is highly regarded, especially in the JRPG community. So the fact that we have this remake is definitely going to get a lot of people's eyes and attention. I'm also going to be showing off some more info and stuff when we do get some. I'm going to be talking about that as well. So yeah, overall, I think it's cool. Am I super excited for it? Um, my excitement level is kind of like at a medium right now. It's like, oh, this is cool. I'm excited for the fact that we got another Persona game to play and enjoy. Um, Personally, I still want to see. I would probably want to see Persona 6, but this is a nice little surprise and a game that can definitely hold us over whenever we do get the eventual Persona 6. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here to give you guys my 2 cents on everything, and yeah, that's pretty much it. With all that said, y'all, this was your boy Kazak, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.